Well, let's get some detail now and reaction. The Holy Trinity Braamfontein's Father Russell Pollitt joining us this evening for this conversation. Father, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. The Vatican describing Pope Francis's health condition on Sunday as critical. This was for a second day running. How would you describe his health condition right now?
So, Polly, good evening to you and your viewers. I think nothing much has changed. We know that Pope Francis is 88 years old. We know that he already, when he was a young man, had a part of his lung removed, so his lungs are already a weakness. We know, too, that he has developed some issues with his kidneys. So, yeah, he remains in a critical condition, and I think at this stage we just wait and see what happens. For a man of his age, I guess that one expects that at some point you do have these medical difficulties.
Let's discuss what some people are worried about, and that is that the leadership in the Catholic Church, what happens to that leadership when the Pope becomes severely ill to a point of incapacitation?
So, Chloe, this is one thing about the Church. Catholic Church has been around for 2,000 years, and there has most certainly been, these sorts of things happening in the past. In recent history, we'll think of John Paul II, who really towards the end of his life as well was struggling. There are other people there. The Pope has aides. There is someone who's called the Secretary of State, Cardinal Parolin. There's the College of Cardinals, from whom the next Pope will be elected. And so they will step into various positions. We are not sure. Some people are saying Pope Francis may resign. If that happens, then they will call a conclave and they will elect a new Pope. If he continues to be Pope at the moment, then those aides will do the things that he normally would do. And as long as he is able to talk to them, as long as he is able to communicate, he will also make known to them what it is that he would like done. We've been told that even from hospital, he's been working in the last few days, and the doctors have really tried hard to make him rest. He's been looking at news briefs. He's been looking at things concerning Vatican business.
Yeah. Can we discuss for a moment what you've just, or the option that you've just put on the table, and that is that of resignation? How realistic is it if he does feel that his health has become rather prohibitive for him to continue with his work?
I think it's realistic. I think that, Pope Benedict XVI shocked the Catholic Church when he resigned and stepped down in 2013. So there's already a precedent that's been set there. So Pope Francis has been asked numerous times, even when he was confined to a wheelchair, they said to him, look, are you maybe thinking of resigning? And jokingly one day he said, well, I don't run the church with my knee, because he was having knee problems. So I think that it's not totally impossible. And I think he is the kind of man who would say, look, I am no longer to do the best that I can here, and maybe it is time for me to offer my resignation so that someone else can take over the reins. But how he does this and how he's thinking about this at this time, I mean, it's really a guessing game. It's up to him, but it is a possibility.
Yeah. If it does come to pass that he does resign, or perhaps the unthinkable happens, let's talk about what are some of his notable career moments. What would you say some of those are? He took up the leadership of the Catholic Church in 2013. What would you say is some of the work that he has done that really has gotten people to sit up and listen?
I think, first of all, probably that he's been a very human Pope, in the sense that he's not removed from people. Right from the beginning, there was this kind of difference between him and the popes who had gone before him. Each pope has his own way of doing things. But Francis was a very human pope, that people felt that somehow he understood them, that somehow he could communicate with them. And the other thing which really stands out for me, I'd say, amongst a list of many things, is his real commitment to the marginalized. He's been one of the few voices in the world at the moment. We know that, for example, migration is a very hot potato issue for many countries. Pope Francis has in many ways been the voice of migrants, but not just migrants. I think that people who find themselves on the margins in any way, whether they were homeless, for example, the toilets that he set up, the showers that he set up in St. Peter's Square in Rome for the homeless, really a pope for marginalized people. And, I think also built relationships with other religions, especially with Islam. The Pope visited a number of Islamic countries. I was privileged enough to be in Morocco with him when he was there. He went to Morocco. He's been to Egypt. He signed various documents with religious leaders in the Islamic world. That, I think, will be things that go down in history to say, yeah, this will be the man that he was.
Interesting indeed. Let's conclude the conversation, Father Pollitt, and talk about Pope Francis, the person. And I'm asking you this because just moments ago, we were running pictures. In fact, there are those pictures right now of yourself meeting with him. Where was that? And how did you find him as a human being?
I worked for two of synods, the Synod on the Family, the Synod on Youth for Vatican Media. So I was in Rome at that time, and those were meetings that took place in Rome. And I think my experience of him was somebody that was really warm. He had a smile. He mixed with the people that were at that meeting. He wasn't taken off to a separate space. He always had a warm smile. He told jokes. I remember once, for example, us standing in a circle in the tea break between sessions, and people were laughing, and they were laughing at what he said. He had the ability to make jokes, even in his broken English. And I think the other thing that really stands out is he came across as a very gentle man to me, the times that I met him. And he knew things. He asked me questions about South Africa and always ended a conversation by saying to us, well, please remember to pray for me. So I found him to be a very warm human being, in no way aloof.
Yeah. There are matters as well that can be quite troubling the world over. Pope Francis has not shied away from confronting those matters to do with homosexuality. What would you say his work is going to be remembered for in areas such as those?
I think that Pope Francis is at heart a pastor. In Pope Benedict, we saw a man with a brilliant theological mind. Francis is not that. He's a good theologian, but I think he's a pastor, and he really cares for people. And for him, people are important. And I think, whether it is migrants and refugees, whether it is people of homosexual orientation, whether it is people who find themselves burdened by things in life, he has a heart that goes out to those people. And so that genuine care for human beings, and it's sometimes even for some people seemingly disregarding law because he puts the human person first, I think will be something that he's remembered for. And, even Polly, he's phoned Gaza every single night since the war began. He's phoned the small Catholic community there, spoken to the priests and the people, really worried about what's happening. Are they safe? What are people feeling? So this real sense that he is a pope who cares about people.
Yeah. Father, you may regard the next question as inappropriate, and I'm happy for you to not answer. But the Pope is 88 years old. Anything is possible. And again, earlier, we contemplated that he might possibly even resign. Are there clear successors right now?
Polly, there's a very interesting Roman saying that says that the cardinal who goes into the conclave as Pope comes out as a cardinal. And you will hear various voices speaking about, well, we need someone who's going to move more to the center, to right. There's kind of a politic about this. There are some people maybe who might be looked at by the cardinals as a pope. But at the moment, I would say that's very difficult. And for one important reason, Pope Francis has opened up in such a way the cardinals, because he's appointed people from places around the world that didn't traditionally have cardinals, people from Asia, people from small islands, people from places that maybe the world completely doesn't even think about. And so this new mix of people, where there's no dominance maybe of just those from the Western world, but a lot of people from the Southern Hemisphere, I think is going to make for a very interesting conclave. So to name someone, I think at this stage would be very difficult. The cardinals themselves may not even know, because some of them don't even know each other. Remember, they come together in Rome, they have meetings, they look at the state of the church, what kind of leadership the church needs at this time. They get to know each other. And then only maybe when that happens will we start to see emerge someone who might come out as the Pope.
Father Russell Pollitt, thank you so much for your reflections on Pope Francis as he continues to fight for better health in hospital. Father Russell Pollitt is with the Holy Trinity Church here in Braamfontein.